Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked for this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right, we have the Visconti Empire. We have a Montblanc, and this is the Karl the Grosse or Karl the Great. We have an Onoto Charles Dickens. This is a Christmas Carol in 2024 edition. We have a Danitrio, and this is the Takumi Moonlit Grass. We have another Danitrio, and this is the Maki-e Ancient Dragon with Flowers by Kogaku. We have a Danitrio Bamboo Story in Tamanuri Kidami. We have an Urushi Studio India Xyphos R in Aka Tamanuri. We have a Montblanc Writer's Edition, and this is the Jane Austen. We have a Cypress, and this is the Raden Mosaic number 4. And then we have another Cypress, and this is the Maki-e Goldfish. So I think let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail. So the first pen here is the Visconti Empire. I added this to my collection last year. This is an older model. And one that I had really been after for some time. A friend had one of these. It still has, actually. It's a Paravac filler. It's an older style pen. And it's just a really beautiful pen. Now, it comes in both silver colour and gold vermeil. This is the gold vermeil version. It looks a little bit more silvery on the actual camera here, but this really is gold plated. It's really nice looking. Comes with a number 6 size Visconti original 18 karat gold fine nib, which really writes a little bit more, I'd say, medium to broad. It's a little bit of a bouncy nib. It is a Paravac filling pen. I can post the cap on this one, but that cap bit here posts across that band, and although there is a cap band here, I have known these caps not only on Visconti's but more so on other models, other manufacturer pens, to crack. So it's not something I would normally do, but I know a lot of people do like to post caps. For that reason, I typically prefer the cap band here to be lower on the pen. Like the Montblanc's a little bit lower, I would say. Likewise, the Onoto there. But I would prefer the cap bands to be a little bit lower if I were to be posting the cap on that pen. The next pen here is a Montblanc, and it is the Karl the Grosse or Karl the Great. And I really do like this pen. It's a Montblanc 4810, which is the more limited edition version over the regular edition. This is sterling silver, but you can just see the facets there. There's a jewel there on the clip as well. This really is a beautiful pen, quite weighty. It's a little bit on the short side. Section-wise, though, not too bad in terms of girth. It's a number 6 size Montblanc, 18 karat gold, medium nib. But you can see here that section below the threads is quite short to try and hold. I am really sort of pressing against the threads there a little bit. I can also post the cap. It will post deeply and securely there. But again, it is actually catching or gripping onto that cap band, which is gold plated. And you could wear that gold off over time, even though the inside of that cap is plastic or resin. It will still scratch it over time, potentially, and wear that down. The next pen inked up is the Onoto, and this is the Charles Dickens Christmas Carol 2024 edition. I really do love this red cranberry-like effect there in the resin. You've got the Onoto cap finial there. You've got the sterling silver clip. And then you've got this sterling silver cap overlay, which I think really makes this look beautiful. Also, first from Onoto, but they've hand painted these leaves in green and the berries in red. really is a work of art. There's only 24 of these made. I got number 4. And if I unscrew the cap here, you'll see it has a number 7 size Onoto 18 karat gold medium nib. And you can, if you wish to do so, post that cap. It's just a stunning pen, and I love this pen to bits. I love that it's a red. I do like red inks. I do have a few red pens here today, so I do have some red inks here that probably will be duplicates, but the next pen here is the Danitrio, and it's the Moonlit Grass. This was a pen that I picked up a number of years ago. There's a guy in the UK called William Shakur, was a collector. I think he still is a collector. He started making the Titan pens, the 3D printed pens, but he was looking to sell some of his pens from his collection. This was one of those, and I jumped at it. I didn't at that point. No, actually, I did have a Danitrio. I was going to say I didn't have. I did. I actually had this Bamboo Story, which you'll see in a moment. But this one, as soon as I saw it on the spreadsheet and I looked it up, as soon as I saw this, I really liked the look of this. You can see here, you've got the moon and you've got the grass. So the moonlit grass. Really beautiful Danitrio. You don't see many Danitrios like this now. I kind of want to say that Danitrio have lost their way a little bit. Maybe not, but this is a 18 karat gold fine nib on this one. It's a cartridge converter. Yes, I can post the cap, but all of this grass I can feel. So again, I would be worried about marring that finish. I do love Akatamanuri. This is Akatamanuri. So for me, that was really a good addition to my start of my Urushi collection. The next pen was this one, and I bought this, I think, about a year or so later. Might have been 2 years later. And this one is the Danitrio. It's the Maki-e Ancient Dragon with Flowers by Kagaku. Kagaku is the artisan, but you can see here, wind. You've got this beautiful dragon here. You've got the flowers here as well that you can see. And also some little grapevines here. A really lovely pen. It is Akatamanuri, but it's a little bit slightly more tinted towards Toki Tamanuri. But it's definitely Akatamanuri. And again, a number 6 size Danitrio Fireball nib. And this is a medium nib on this one. I actually picked this one up from John Foy at St John's Pens at one of the London pen shows. You don't see too many, obviously you can post a cap there, you don't see too many of these Danitrio. It's a Hyotan model. You don't see too many of those. And when you do, they typically are quite a pricely sum. So that one, it was actually quite a good deal. It wasn't a bad deal. It wasn't mega expensive, I would say, but compared to some pens. Now, the next pen here is this one, and it's a Danitrio, and this is the Bamboo Story. It's an Akatamanuri, and it's the Kidami. Beautiful pen. I picked this up. This was, I think, my second or third London pen show that I went to, and the story from that was I had gone round. It was I think the first show that I was video recording, might have been the second, and I'd gone round. I did several laps of the pen show floor. I was in the main boardroom. This was at the older venue, and not the current venue. And I just happened to get to John Twiss's table of Tweako, and he always has some interesting pens. He turns his own pens, but he also buys other pens. And there was this one, and it just immediately spoke to me. I love the look at this pen, and I saw the price there, on the table, and I just said to him, like, can you do me a deal on this? You can see there, it's got a number 8 size Danitrio fireball nib, and this is an 18 karat gold fine nib. And he did me a little bit of a deal. It wasn't much. I think it was £50 off at the time. But I just knew I had to have this pen. It's an eyedropper. You do have a release valve here, which you unscrew like a piston knob. It is a eyedropper pen. So you do have to unscrew the section to fill up the reservoir there. But it's a beautiful pen. Akatamanuri. I love Akatamanuri. And this is just a great pen. So a little bit long, a little bit on the long side, but also the girthier side. But I do love that pen. So I have that one inked up. And then around I think it was around about the pandemic. Was it before I think it was before the pandemic. Urushi Studio India had this pen. He'd finished it, and I decided to jump at it. Again, it's another Akatamanuri there. Very nice pen. It's got the fading here between the cap and the body. A black section and a Yovo steel nib there with GM listed on there, and it's a medium nib. Again, it's a cartridge converter pen. I can't post the cap on this one. The two Danitrios, these ones are cartridge converter, but it's a nice pen, and it was a fairly good price. So I decided at that point, I bought that on Instagram, and I messaged him, and it ended up in my collection. The next pen inked up is the Montblanc Writer's Edition, and this is the Jane Austen. And beautiful cap finial here. I really love that cap finial. I wish Montblanc would do more of this. I know they do sometimes, but I really like that design in the cap finial. The clip also, I didn't like to start with, but it's grown on me. It's a really stiff clip. This is a piston filling pen. And if I unscrew the cap, you've got a metal section there, and then you've got Jane Eyre on this number 6 size 18 karat gold medium nib. I can't post the cap on this one, but it's actually a decent size. Pretty good weight as well, so I don't feel the need there to post that cap. The next pen inked up is the Cypress, and this is the Raden Mosaic number 4. And when I saw this pen, I just had to have it. It really is a stunning piece of art. You've got the abalone shell twisting around here. You've got a gold band, and you also have these crushed duck's egg there. And it just is a beautiful pen. A little bit on the thinner, shorter side for me. But it's got a Cypress 18 karat gold medium nib there. I can post the cap. It will post securely there. Maybe not too deeply. But again, I just do not post my caps. But you can do so on quite a lot of Cypress pens. I would say probably not on most of the flat tops, although these are flat tops and you can post these caps. And then the final one here is this one, and it is the Cypress, and this is the Maki-e Goldfish. And again, this is stunning work of art. It reminds me of the Maki-e Emperor Goldfish. It really is beautiful, and I do love this pen. And I managed to get the last one on this one, so I was very happy with that one. And this has a number 6 size Cypress 18 karat gold medium nib, and again, you can post that cap if you want to. It's not going to post deeply and not really securely, but it's a beautiful pen. And these two Cypress pens do come with cartridge converters. The Urushi Studio India is also a cartridge converter, and the Jane Austen is a piston filling pen. So there you have it. That's my 10 pens currently inked for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen inked up here today is the Visconti Empire. So I think we'll do an ink swatch here, and you'll be able to see this. But this is a lovely, lovely nib. I really do like how this pen writes. So this is the Visconti Empire, and it is a fine, and it's an 18-karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Visconti Turquoise, which is a nice turquoise blue ink. And that is one that I really do like writing with. The next pen inked up is the Montblanc, and it's the Karl de Grosse or Karl de Great. And we'll do an ink swatch here. And I'm trying to run this one dry. It just doesn't want to run dry. I will look at inking this one up probably at some point with another ink. This is the Montblanc, and it's the Karl de Grosse or Karl the Great, and it's a medium, and it's an 18-karat gold nib. And I've just thought, actually, I've got Montblanc Oyster Grey, which could actually still a lighter grey ink, but I think it's a little bit more of a bluer grey, so that could be one I could ink up in future. But this ink is Pelican, Edelstein, and it's Moonstone, which I do still find is a little bit too much of a lighter grey ink for me. It's also got a little bit of a red tingency as well to it, which, yeah, I think once it dries, it's more of a light grey ink. The next pen inked up is the Onoto Charles Dickens Christmas Carol 2024 edition. And I just love this pen. It's a beautiful, beautiful work of art. Onoto really are providing or making some very nice pens. They are a little bit more on the expensive side. Certainly, I know a lot of people in the US are put off by these when you look at the price. Sometimes they're over $1,000, and it's with a steel nib, but they really do make some good pens. So this is the Onoto Charles Dickens Christmas Carol 2024 edition, and it's a medium, and it's an 18-karat gold nib. And so far I've been able to get the 21, 22, two of the 23s, and the 24. I have no idea what the 2025 will look like. I hope it's going to be one that I like. I'm not just going to buy it for the sake of buying it, so it does have to speak to me. But we'll have to wait and see later in the year. It's normally around October, November time we get to find out. And then the ink in here is Diamine. Ho, ho, ho. But that, again, is a really, really beautiful ink, I think, that matches that pen. The next pen inked up is the Danitrio Takumi Moonlit Grass. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a very bouncy nib. Now, sometimes I would ink this up with a more darker red, but I think this is a nice red. Maybe not quite as bright as the Diamine Ho Ho Ho, but this is the Danitrio, and this is the Takumi. Takumi is the model or the shape of the pen, and this is the Moonlit Grass, and it is a fine, and just double checking, yeah, it's an 18-karat gold nib, and the ink in here is Diamine Poppy Red. I was just actually going to say Poppy Brown for some reason, But no, that's definitely a red. The next pen inked up is the Danitrio, and this is the Maki-e Ancient Dragon with Flowers by Kagaku. It's a Hyotan model, which is the shape. So I think with that, let's do an ink swatch. And this, again, it's a nice writing nib. So this is the Danitrio, and it's the Maki-e Ancient Dragon. I think I will just abbreviate it to that. And it's a medium, and just double checking. Yeah, it's an 18 karat gold nib. And again, the ink in here is Diamine Poppy Red. That is a favourite red of mine. A little bit more, I'd say, on the redder side of the orange compared to Diamine Ho Ho Ho. The next pen inked up is the Danitrio Bamboo Story. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is definitely a fine nib, but it's a very wet writing nib. And it doesn't have a lot of bounce compared to the other two Danitrios. So this is the Danitrio, and it is the Bamboo Story. And it's a fine, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. But this does have a larger number 8 size nib to it. And the ink in here is KWZ Beefeater Red. But that is a very nice. I really do like writing and getting these Danitrios out from time to time because it does make a lot of difference. The next pen inked up is the Urushi Studio India Xyphos R in Akatamanuri. Would I like more Akatamanuri colour pens? Yes, I would. Am I going to get them? I don't know. We'll do an ink swatch. And this, again, is... it's a pretty decent writing nib. It's a steel nib. So this is the Urushi Studio India Xyphos. I should do this. Xyphos R for regular. It's a medium, and it's a steel Yovo nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine Poppy Red again. But again, I just like Akatamanuri. I just like the tones, the colours of it. It just speaks to me. The next pen inked up is the Montblanc Writer's Edition Jane Austen. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is a beautiful writing nib. Absolutely. And it's probably also coupled with the ink because it is a lubricated ink. So this is the Montblanc Jane Austen. And it's a medium, and it is an 18 karat gold nib. But it just flows beautifully. And then the ink in here is Pilot Iroshizuku Aji Sei, and that is just it's like writing on glass. It's a medium nib, doesn't have baby's bottom, which some Montblancs can have, but that one doesn't. It's just a beautiful writing experience. The next pen inked up is this one. It's a Cypress, and it is the Raden Mosaic number 4. So we will do an ink swatch here. And this is a very light brown coloured ink, or I'd say probably saddle brown. And this is the Cypress Raden Mosaic number 4 in a medium, and it is an 18 karat gold nib. Quite a stiff nib though, I would say. And then the ink in here is Robert Oster, and it is Muddy Bucket. But definitely a beautiful pen, and one I like to have inked up quite a bit. And then the last pen inked up is the Cypress, and this is the Maki-e Goldfish. So again, we will do an ink swatch here. And again, this is a firm nib, but not a bad writing nib for a firm nib. This is Cypress, and it is the Maki-e Goldfish, and it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib, but a firm nib. And then the ink in here is Robert Oster, and it is gold and Antiqua. But that is again a very beautiful gold ink that doesn't have any shimmer in it. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have a Visconti Empire in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Visconti turquoise. We have a Montblanc Karl de Grosse, or Karl the Great, in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pelican Edelstein Moonstone. We have an Onoto, and this is a Charles Dickens Christmas Carol 2024 edition in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Ho Ho Ho. We have a Danitrio Takumi Moonlit Grass in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Poppy Red. We have a Danitrio Maki-e Ancient Dragon in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Poppy Red. We have a Danitrio Bamboo Story in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with KWZ Beefeater Red. We have an Urushi Studio India Xyphos R in a medium steel nib inked up with Diamine Poppy Red. We have a Montblanc Writer's Edition Jane Austen, and this is in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pilot Roshizuku Aji Sei. We have a Cypress Raden Mosaic number 4 in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Robert Oster Muddy Bucket. And then last but not least, we have a Cypress Maki-e Goldfish in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Robert Oster Gold Antiqua. So there you have it. That's my 10 pens currently inked for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye-bye.